The image of the gladiator, replicated by many films and books, in the mass consciousness is associated with the struggle of man for freedom. A proud warrior who has been captured suddenly becomes a slave, forced to shed the blood of the same poor fellows for the entertainment of rich and depraved Romans. However, the reality was far from the stereotypical image inspired by the fantasy of writers and directors. Although most often slaves or prisoners of war became gladiators, among them there were many free citizens who chose such a dangerous craft of their own free will. In the heyday of the empire, about 1/5 of all students of gladiatorial schools were free people. The main reason why some former legionnaires, adventurers and dark personalities, as well as the poor, exhausted by creditors, sought to fight in the arena was very simple: money. The standard fee for a novice, a graduate of a gladiatorial school, for the first battle was 1,000 sesterces. If the guy showed himself well, then the contract with him was extended, and the fee immediately increased by 6 times. Historians have figured out how much a sesterce cost by comparing the prices of basic foodstuffs in ancient Rome and modern Italy. It turned out that one such silver coin was approximately equivalent to €2. That is, just by surviving after the first fight, an ordinary guy could get about €4,000, and in the future the amount of his fee increased to €24,000 for each fight. And these are just standard conditions. The incomes of famous and popular gladiators were comparable to the salaries of modern sports stars. Right in the arena, they were showered with gold coins. In addition, numerous fans and groupies also did not skimp on gifts. However, many people became gladiators not for the sake of money, they were more attracted to fame. This was written by the famous Italian historian Angelo Alberto. Here is how the author depicted the appearance of the fighters in the arena of the Colosseum. The gladiators stop, the crowd rejoices, and they wave their hands in gratitude. Then the fighters begin their warm-up, making lunges and demonstrating the skill of lightning strikes. The audience responds with enthusiastic exclamations to their every movement. Nowadays, only famous football players or famous pop stars and actors are able to evoke such a storm of emotions. People discuss the fights of popular gladiators. Young men from influential families learned fencing from them. Emperors favored them. Artists and sculptors immortalized the legendary winners, decorating palaces and temples with their images. For many Romans, such fame was more valuable than money. Money and popularity attract the attention of girls and women. And this is another reason why some young people enrolled in schools that train professional fighters. However, contrary to Hollywood cliches, they are not completely deprived of their freedom. From ancient texts and archaeological finds, we know about many gladiators who had wives and children or companions who shared the joys and sorrows of this craft. Often they are the ones who leave epitaphs on tombstones. Many ladies from the upper strata of society had affairs with popular fighters, gave them jewelry and other expensive items, and sometimes just paid money for nights of love. Sometimes, as a result of such relationships, serious passions flared up, and the wives of Roman senators abandoned their husbands for the sake of gladiators. However, influential matrons more often simply used the sex services of fighters, for whom it was a good additional income. The French writer Edmond Dupuy, M.D., in his book Prostitution in Antiquity, severely denounced the debauchery of the Roman aristocrats. He wrote, "The only purpose of their life was pleasure, festivities, circus games, food and debauchery." The Roman crowd demanded a bloody spectacle, but professional and experienced fighters skillfully avoided even serious injuries, specifically exposing themselves to harmless blows. In the course of a spectacular performance, the audience was often deceived, theatrically playing out fierce fights. A study of the found remains of gladiators showed that many of them survived more than 100 fights, and the fights were held with the participation of a referee. In general, battles between gladiators rarely ended in death. The victory was fundamental, and not the destruction of the enemy. The last thing the ancient organizers of gladiator fights wanted was the turnover of personnel associated with the constant expenditure of money to buy new fighters. After completing their careers, many gladiators received prestigious jobs as trainers or instructors in various types of martial arts, as well as personal bodyguards for influential people.